hey guys, as a tribute to Glenn in his time of need right now, I decided I would do a review of his action figure. Now he's only gotten one so far, and that's kind of too bad because he's an awesome character, and I mean, he's going through some really bad times now, so it's definitely a good time to review his action figure, especially if it's before something happens that we don't want to happen. Okay, I did a slight modification on this one where the beaten up head here, it had this hair on there, but I put it here because I think it looks better on his non-beaten up head because he walks around with his hair in his face like normally now, and I think it looks cool that way. Yeah. Now, first I'm going to go over his accessories, then we'll do sculpt, articulation, and paint. Okie doke. First let's start off with his rifle here. It's very nice. It's got a barrel handle there. No real detail in the paint, just some gunmetal wash over black. And then I'm not sure if this originally had a strap on it because I lose straps all the time with these Walking Dead figures, but let's just say it didn't because yeah. Okay, nice gun, and here's his alternate head, and I will show you that swap in a second. Look at that. Getting nice focus here too. Yeah, it looks a lot like Steven Yeun, or Yen, or I don't know. I can't pronounce his name very well. I've heard like Greg Nicotero pronounce it in a strange way, and I was like, that just made me feel like I've been pronouncing it wrong the entire time. Anyway, fits on. It's an easy swap. Like if you own the first Governor figure that came out, then you know that swapping heads on these figures can sometimes be extremely hard. But with this guy, it wasn't that hard. I mean, it's with the Governor one, it would break off. With this guy, it is you have to put a little bit of elbow grease in, but not like break off type of elbow grease. Yeah, see? So yeah, head fits fine, and it retains the same amount of articulation on both heads, so I don't really have to show off both of those. But here's his little pistol here. This has got to be the tiniest gun they've given us with these Walking Dead figures. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Very nice. Oh yeah. I dig the sculpt on this one. And it fits in his hand pretty well too. Let's put it in there. Now this Glenn figure does have sort of a weird hand setup here. In fact, that reminds me, I'll be right back. So unprofessional, I'm sorry guys. He has this like knife jabbing hand pose, and that's sort of like what he's permanently in, but that works well for this accessory here that it comes with, which I almost neglected. Look at that. It's got blood marks on it. It's just like a PVC pipe for plumbing, but he did use it in the show, and it fits in his hand better and looks more natural than any of his other accessories, really. Like, see, he looks like he's more meant to hold this than his pistol, knife, or rifle. Although, I mean, he did use this in like a couple of scenes maybe, but I don't think this should have been what they based his hands around just to hold. Because, I mean, you guys can definitely see it, right? His hands are always sort of canted down no matter what position you put them in. It's the way it's sculpted. Yeah. Very odd. Let me get some focus here. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. Well, let's see. Now he has a knife that fits in this holster over here, and that fits into either hand pretty well, I believe. It's got a very thick handle, so it doesn't have the same problems that the Daryl figure has. But yeah, that's real nice, actually. This looks better than I remember it. It's got a tiny blade, but a huge handle for him to hold on to. And he does hold on to it nicely. It looks like he could take on a walker like that. And if you guys haven't seen the newest episode, then I'm not going to spoil any of that for you. Or, you know, the episode where Glenn's had trouble. Yeah, not the newest. The newest one stunk. But anyway, make sure to check out my reviews of those episodes. I did a review on both of them. Dang, he looks like he just wants to go around stabbing something. Ah, not me! Okay. Let's switch out to his pistol here. I don't think I gave you guys a good look in both hands. So, yeah, the pistol he doesn't hold as well as the knives. See that? It's kind of, yeah, you can't really get it in a natural looking pose. But it fits in his holster well, and that's pretty much where I would leave it. Not good for posing with. But fits in that holster nice, and very nicely sculpted holster there. See that? Beautiful. Oh yeah, that's wonderful. He also comes with this vest, which slip on over his head here. You gotta push these plastic tabs here inside of these holes. Or, it's rubber actually. The entire vest is made out of rubber, from what I can tell. It's kind of hard to get those to stand there, but there you go. And then he does look natural in it. And for any of those wondering if you can, like, swap out and put that helmet from that Riot Gear zombie who has a removable helmet on him, that does not work. If I have it right here, I'll show you guys, but nope, not right here. Anyway, it doesn't work. I've tried many times. You have to, like, cut out his the top of his head if you want it to fit on, so that's not happening. But let's give him all of his accessories here, and I'll show you how he looks holding his rifle. It works better than the pistol for sure. Just because the pistol isn't, its handle isn't canted the way the rifle is, so it looks more natural for him holding this. However, you gotta fidget it around a little first. Okay, so, yeah. He can't get a great double-handed pose. Probably the jacket. Let's see how it looks, how it works, without the jacket on. Let's pop that on real quick. There we go, much easier. Okay, yeah, he can get a pretty good double-handed pose. He's not going to look like he's sniper shooting or anything, but shooting from the hip is pretty cool. Da 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 da. Yeah, he just went Terminator on you. Anyway, now let's go over the sculpt, because that's the really nice part of this figure, and of course the articulation is a problem for him, but let's go over sculpt first. First off, we have a really nice likeness to Steven Yeun on both this head and the other one. Yeah, it definitely looks like the actor. And then he's got nice sculpted hair, and his shirt here looks like it's supposed to. It's got nice wrinkles all over. Paint is nice too, but we'll go over that in a second. Hands are sculpted oddly though, keep that in mind. The parts here are sculpted nicely, and for the knife, it's got like these rubber pieces here that are separate-ish, and when you pull out the knife, they sort of, you can just see, yeah, they push together or whatever. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that is. Maybe it keeps the knife in there tighter. But whatever it is, it doesn't cause any troubles. He's got nice pants, wrinkled. And then his shoes are really snazzy, look at that. Looks like they've got some sort of alligator skin cover on there, yeah. Alligator skin boots, those are really nice. See that? Yeah. And then underneath there is treads. Or there are treads. And that's nice little details there. It's the little details that count. Okay. Now let's go over paint real quick. He's got a nice shirt color here, nice pants color. Boots are fairly nice as this here. That brown stripe there. That's the only variation in the boots other than some wash. And then he's got a nice dirt wash over his shirt here. Very nice. The paint on this head seems more detailed because they had to add like 5 o'clock shadow on him and some blood here. Oh, it looks nasty. Yeah, I've seen people turn this head into a walker head, but if you ask me, it just looks like the same sculpt, kind of, just repainted to look all messed up. But I guess there is slight differences here, and then the lip is swollen there. But yeah, it always looks the same to me. I don't know why. Okay. Now I gotta do this test. Can he sit down? Now, this is part of the articulation, but before I go over the articulation, I'm gonna show you if he can sit down. And for figures from the earlier series of figures, that's probably a no-go. I mean, he can fit in there kind of ish, but he looks like he's a corpse and someone stuck him in there and his rigor mortis is setting in, you know. He looks like a table that you tried meshing into there. Yeah, it's like putting a square peg through a round hole. It doesn't work. Anyway. Now let's go over the articulation, since that brought up the point. Head does a full 360 spin. It can look up quite a bit for him, and then look down a fair amount. It can look to the sides very nicely. It's got some head pivot. He can look like he's very curious about something. Curiouser and curiouser. And then his arm does a full 360 spin, can go up to, not extremely well, but pretty far up. It can, yeah, it's got full rotation there. Then, yeah, I'd say a 90-degree angle bend here at the elbow. See that? Very nice. And then at the wrist, he has double spin abilities, both at the under part here and the over part. And then he has the dice roll articulation and the scratch at a wall articulation. Beautiful. And I'm pretty sure it's the same on both arms. Yeah, exactly the same. Okay, now let's move down to the legs. Now this is where it gets really crappy. So if you guys are not familiar with the earlier series figures, I believe he's a series 5 figure, yeah, and their articulation lacks in these legs because it has a ball joint in there instead of the hinge articulation that they have later, like with this Rick. Yeah, ball, hinge, that's the difference. And this would work like with the NECA figures. They use that same articulation, but they have this rubber piece for the crotch area here. And for him, it's a hard plastic, so there's no real give there. He can kick forward that much, kick back more than kicking forward. And then splits, he can kind of do. So he's going to be, it's going to be like me doing the splits. So it's like, no, forget. That's not happening. Front splits, though, he can do slightly better. Or not really. Now at the knees, he can bend a fair amount, quite a bit, and then full 360 rotation there. Can do about the same with both legs there. And then the ankles do have good articulation here. We have an up and down movement that's fair, and then a side to side movement. Feels like it's on a ball joint in there, so it's probably like his neck is, with the ball in there and then connecting to that, yeah. And it can do about the same amount on both sides. So yeah. Well guys, I gotta tell you, I highly recommend this figure if you're a fan of Glenn. If you're just looking for a figure of The Walking Dead, I would also recommend him, but if you're one of those sticklers for articulation, you're probably going to want to go somewhere else. But if you're a stickler for articulation and you're a fan of Glenn, get him anyway, because you can always update his articulation. I mean, come on. How much work does that take? Also, let's take a close-up look at his vest here before I close up this episode. Very nice detailed. There's the inside. Okay, anyway. Wrapping up the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys then. Adios.